Hello everyone, it's time again to return to the X-Men, and we're going to finish up their rematch with the evil mutants. Remember the last time the X-Men ran to the rescue of a new mutant who was hopping his way to victory in a track meet, but they discovered that this new mutant is just an old mutant enemy, the Toad. And so they got him on a subway, but oh no, he escaped. And so they're running after him. And what's going to happen? Will they catch up? Let's find out. All right, so Angel says, "Don't be alarmed. There's no place he can hop to where I can't fly after him." And Iceman says, "You're right, Angel, but just to play safe, I'll slow him up a little, like this." And so Iceman tosses this ice disc. Toad says, "Ha, clumsy fool, you missed me." "Well, that was the idea, Playmate. I wanted my disc to hit the floor in front of you. Pretty neat, huh?" And so the ice hit him in front, and so when he lands, he's spinning out of control. Iceman says, "Why don't you answer me? Unless you'd rather keep spinning around that way. Better get him, Angel. He must be dizzy enough by now." So Angel snatches him up. He says, "Nice try, Toad. You didn't really think you could beat the X-Men, did you?" But all of a sudden, at that split second, a startling incident occurs. The huge clock in the middle of the station flies apart, as though under the control of some mighty, wrathful, magnetic power. You know who's there. Angel says, "Look out, those metal pieces are flying towards you like bullets." Angel swoops out of the way. He says, "Phew, good thing the professor gave me so much agility practice in the past," but he drops the Toad. And then one of the most awesome of all living menaces appears on the scene, the merciless Magneto. He says, "The Toad alone is no match for the X-Men, but Magneto is." At a gesture from the evil mutant, one of the heavy iron train gates rises above the speechless crowd and races through the air, trapping the Angel within a quickly formed iron cage. Oh no, with those iron bars wrapped around Angel, he won't be able to fly. Beast says, "Hold on to the Toad, Cyclops. I'll get under the Angel and try to wrest those iron bars from him when he falls." Cyclops says, "Be careful, Beast. Only Magneto could be responsible for all this, and we've never fought him before without the help of Professor X." But then there's still more evil mutants to contend with, such as the Scarlet Witch, who directs her incredible hex power at a man standing near the onrushing Beast, and her hex power causes a suitcase to open up, and it all falls out in front of the Beast and trips him. The man says, "Hey, what made my suitcase snap open that way?" And the Beast says, "Look out, I can't stop myself. Oof." Meantime, Mastermind has chosen the Iceman as his special target. Iceman says, "Holy smoke, a dozen Masterminds surrounding me. It must be an illusion, but how do I know which one is real?" So he didn't know which way to strike. "Well, there's one way to find out. I'll make myself an ice club and swing and see who falls." But before the Iceman can complete his attack, he is engulfed by a clinging cloud which seems to stifle his movements. "Even though I know this cloud is just an illusion, it's blinding me just as if it were real." And so Iceman can't see. But then Marvel Girl dramatically enters the fray, and with her telekinetic power, she raises Mastermind high in the air. "I'll keep you so busy you won't have time for any more illusions, Mastermind." And he says, "No, don't let me fall." But then things happen with dazzling speed. The lightning swift Quicksilver attacks Cyclops from behind, freeing the Toad. Shocked, Marvel Girl turns away from Mastermind to come to Cyclops' aid. Quicksilver says, "Run, Toad, I'll handle Cyclops." Marvel Girl says, "No, I mustn't let Cyclops be injured." And Mastermind says, "Ha, I'm safely free of the girl's power." But Cyclops is far less helpless than it would appear. He says, "Don't worry about me, Marvel Girl. I'm not letting go of the Toad, and Quicksilver won't hang around when I aim my power beam his way." Marvel Girl says, Cyclops says to Marvel Girl, "Keep your eye on him. Watch where he runs." And Quicksilver says, "Blast it, I didn't realize he could use his power beam while I was holding his arms. I've got to get out of range." And the power beams go pow, 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 pow. Quicksilver thinks, only my great speed is saving me from those powerful blasts. Any one of them could put me out of the fight. However, while the X-Men worry about the safety of each of their members, things are quite different among Magneto's evil mutants. Magneto says, "Forget the Toad. Run. We have the Angel. I'll swap him for that high-jumping fool any day." Scarlet Witch says, "Quicksilver, hurry, follow us." Beast realizes they've abducted the Angel. Using him as a hostage, Magneto will have an insurmountable advantage over us. Magneto says, "The Beast is gaining on us. Quick, Mastermind, we need an illusion." Mastermind says, "He'll never reach us. I'll stop him like this." And so he has an illusion of a rhinoceros charging through the astonished crowd, a wild beast which exists only in the imaginations of those affected by Mastermind's uncanny power. But nonetheless, they're going to start running and stampeding, and they're going to get in the way. Beast says, "The crowd is panicking. I can't get past without injuring someone. Marvel Girl, can you lift me over them via telekinesis?" Marvel Girl lifts him up. She says, "I'll try." "Oh no, you're too heavy. I can't lift you far enough." Meantime, outside the terminal, a magnetically powered ship silently descends to Earth, and by the time the crowd within has dispersed, the X-Men come and see the spaceship, and they realize they're getting away. The Beast leaps, but he says, "I couldn't reach them in time. They've abducted the Angel. I failed." Marvel Girl says, "Don't reproach yourself, Beast. We're all to blame, but the battle isn't over yet." A short time later, at Magneto's asteroid orbiting above the Earth, the Angel is trapped inside a prison with a glass window. And Magneto says, "Tell me where the X-Men's headquarters is, Angel. Once I find Professor X, I'll set you free." Angel says, "I'll tell you only one thing, mister. Don't hold your breath waiting for me to crack." Magneto says, "You young fool, do you think I'll let you thwart me now? Only death will free you from me. You'll have to talk." But Scarlet Witch says, "Magneto, you can't mean that. You never told me that we would ever descend to murder." Magneto says, "Spare me your weak whimperings, girl. I will stop at nothing to achieve mastery of Earth, and only the X-Men stand in my way." Angel says, "I've got to hold out, no matter what he does to me. I mustn't betray the others, even if I pay for my silence with my life." In the moments that follow, Magneto subjects the tight-lipped Angel to his own unique form of brainwashing. See those flashing lights that go around in a spiral? Magneto says those flashing light beams won't harm him physically, but they'll prevent him from resisting so long. So he'll give in. And it's only a matter of time before those high-pitched sirens become so unbearable to his ears that it'll tell me anything I want to know. Then Angel flies up to the ceiling, but Magneto says, flying to the ceiling won't help you, Angel. I can seal my devices behind that metal door while the noise continues unabated. Angel says, I mustn't weaken no matter what. I mustn't weaken. As the hours tick slowly by, Magneto says, what manner of man is the Angel? What is the secret of Professor X's training? Why can't I break his will? Why does he resist me? Meanwhile, at a deserted pier on the East River, Beast says, we can't set the Toad free, but we can't take him to our headquarters in case Magneto is scanning us with some sort of magnetic spy device. Cyclops says, look, something seems to be wrong with him. See how he's trembling? He says, I've got to return to Magneto. I must. Marvel Girl says, he keeps mumbling to himself. Beast says, it's almost as though he's in a virtual trance. He seems oblivious to our presence, like a man possessed. Cyclops says, let's leave him alone. Let him talk. We'll see what he does. If it's not a trick, he may lead us to Magneto. Toad continues, Magneto, I've got to return to Magneto. Something is leading me to him. I cannot resist. Beast says, don't let him get too far from us. It may be a ruse. We can't afford to be duped. Cyclops says, easy, Beast. He won't get away from us. Iceman says, gosh, he's like a guy in a trance. It's real creepy. Look, he had a hidden magnetic communicator under his sock. He's contacting Magneto with it. Cyclops continues, and Magneto got the message. Here comes a drone pickup capsule from above the clouds. See? This magnetic signal is bringing this drone down to the ground. It opens up. Beast says, quickly, we've got to enter it with the Toad. Even if it's a trap, we can't afford to shirk. It may be our one chance to find the Angel. Marvel Girl says, and when we do find him, we must pray that our power is more than a match for the evil mutants. There's Magneto's hideout, that asteroid above us. The capsule is being drawn to an opening by a band of magnetic force. Way up in the sky, way above the Earth. Mastermind sees the Toad and he asks, Toad, how did you escape the X-Men? How did you get here? Toad says, I had to come. Then there's whispering in the capsule. Did you hear that? They weren't expecting him. It's not a trap. Let's go. And so the Mastermind, in his surprise, drops his cigarette. And then the Beast swings around the corner and knocks the Toad into Mastermind. Beast says, forgive this unseemly intrusion, Mastermind, but being well-behaved little X-Men, we hated to take our departure without saying goodbye. Mastermind says, attack me, will you? Let's see how well you fight now, when your legs are turning to dough. Cyclops says, don't let him stop you, Beast. It's just another of his illusions. Beast says, my brain is aware of that, but I still can't move my legs. Imagine if you think your legs are mushy dough, then you can't move them. Wow, what a strange illusion. What a strange power. Mastermind then brings out a gun. He says, you'll find that this is no illusion. But in the moment he loses mental contact, Beast regains his power. And he says, you shouldn't have lost mental contact, Mastermind. My reflexes are faster than yours. And so he leaps up above the bullet. And then Cyclops brings his power to bear. He says, if you threaten one X-Man, you threaten us all. That gun will never menace us again. And his I-beam destroys the gun. Mastermind and Toad now run. Mastermind says, "Quick, Toad, to Magneto. We can't fight them alone." Toad says, "To Magneto, hooray! The leader will save us. The leader can do anything." And he hops away. Mastermind says, "Magneto, right behind us. It's the X-Men." Magneto says, "Quiet, you emotional fool. I heard the entire thing. Even now, I'm arranging for their final defeat." And look, he's got one of his scientific devices there. He's got it clamped around his head. He said, "By means of this magnetic intensifier, I've increased my magnetic power so that I can mentally control any metal portion of this asteroid. I'll turn my entire headquarters into a giant floating death trap." And true to his word, the next instant, Marvel Girl says, "Cyclops, look out. That metal sheeting is dropping on you as though it has a mind of its own." He says, "I can't see. I'm able to breathe, but I can't use my power ray." Not much good in his power beams if he can't open his eyes. And Marvel Girl says, "I can't tear it off. It's too strong. I'll try my own mental power." But before she can make a move, look, her head is clamped by metal objects. She says, "All these things happening, confusing me. I can't concentrate. I can't use the power of my brain." Iceman says, "The asteroid acts like it's alive. We've got to help Marvel Girl." And Beast says, "It's Magneto. He's controlling every bit of metal through his amazing mental powers. We've got a fight on our hands." Then, as if to prove the Beast's words, tiny flame jets shoot out toward the Iceman, beginning to melt his protective coating of ice. "Where is this coming from? Quick, hurl your ice bolts at the wall now." And so Iceman has to use his ice power against the flame jets. Iceman obeys instantly, and the next second, "You did it! You froze the flame jets! I commend you, my frigid friend." And Iceman says, "And I thank you, old bookworm buddy." And then Iceman says, "Don't worry, pretty partner. I'll free you from those gizmos by coating them with ice and crystallizing them like this." And so the ice can make the metal objects so hard that they break. And Beast is strong enough, and he says, "I'll have that piece of metal off you in a trice, Cyclops. Just excuse my dishpan hands, if you will." Magneto sees on the visual screen, "They've escaped all my traps, but it will do them no good. At the seal of a button, I'll seal them in that section. And now I'll blast them right out of the airlock. Farewell, X-Men." Scarlet Witch says, "No, Magneto, you can't, you mustn't." Magneto says, "Bah, do you think your weak words can sway Magneto?" "What, you witch?" See the Scarlet Witch hexed his power buttons. He said, "You put a hex on my control panel. You short-circuited it." So it's interesting that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver often work against Magneto. Magneto says, "You dare defy the will of Magneto. I'll teach you a lesson." Quicksilver says, "You'll do nothing to my sister while Quicksilver lives." Magneto says, "You think you can stop me? You think you can stand up to Magneto, the most powerful mutant of all?" Quicksilver says, "I'll do what I have to in order to protect my sister Wanda. Remember that." Wanda says, "Be careful, Pietro. I fear we are still no match for him." But we are destined never to know what might have happened next, for at that instant a mighty force beam blasts the door right off its hinges. Magneto says, "We forgot the X-Men. They've crashed through." Quicksilver says, "Get back, Wanda. Take cover. It's that accursed Cyclops and his power beam." And so the power beam breaks into the room and disrupts the evil mutants. Cyclops says, Quicksilver, listen to me. You're fighting for the wrong cause. Desert Magneto. Join the X-Men. Quicksilver says, I hate Magneto more than anyone knows, but he once saved my sister's life. I must serve him. Then Cyclops says, but don't you see he's making criminals out of you and the Scarlet Witch? If you join us, Quicksilver says, no more. I'll hear no more. You're trying to confuse us. You're not our friends either. If you were, you wouldn't fight us. We can't trust anyone. And so Quicksilver twirls around in his super speed, and the Cyclops lets go with his mighty eye beam. Cyclops says, you were too careless. You came too near. Now I've got you. Give up, Quicksilver. Don't make me use my power beam on you. And then Magneto comes up behind Scarlet Witch and says, quick, put a hex on Cyclops. But Scarlet Witch says, they're too close. It might hurt Quicksilver. Meantime, the other X-Men desperately try to free the captured Angel, realizing that every second spent places them in still greater danger. And the Beast is pounding with his feet against the glass, but he says it's unbreakable glass. I can feel it giving. Just a few more thumps may do it. Marvel Girl says, hold it, Hank. Let me try it. My way. I can mentally hurl one of these heavy chemical tanks at the glass with even greater force. Look, you did it. He can extricate himself now. And so Marvel Girl's mental power hurled this cylinder through the glass, and it was able to break it. And then Angel says, I knew you'd free me, but you're in grave peril. Magneto can turn this entire asteroid into one giant death trap. Beast says, the suspicion is beginning to dawn on us that his motives are not the friendliest. Well, I think not. What do you think? Magneto's not friendly at all. Then they turn around and, oh my word, what is that? Some giant green red-eyed monster. Beast says, perhaps we can instill some of the milk of human kindness in them. But say, what do we hear? He sees the monster, but Angel knows this time. He says, don't let it throw you. It must be one of Mastermind's images. Watch, I'll prove it. And so he just swoops right through the hallucination. And on the other side, he sees Mastermind and the Toad, and the Angel says, and now, tall, dark, and gruesome, we've got a little settling up to do, so we might as well get started. Toad says, hurry, Mastermind, don't let him get you. Too bad you can't hop away from your enemies like the Toad. Mastermind says, no, stay back. But the sounds of conflict have reached Magneto's ears, and so he says, stop your whining, Mastermind. My dart grenade will save you. So look, this grenade explodes and sends out 1,000 flying darts. That's exactly what Angel says. X-Men, look out. It exploded into 1,000 flying darts. Magneto thinks, they're faster than I thought. They all saved themselves by taking cover, but at least I slowed their attack. Wait, that rumbling sound, can it be what I think? Oh no, it is. Magneto realizes the asteroid is breaking up. During the battle, someone must have brushed against some of the detonator buttons, but I shall turn this to my advantage. Toad says, save me, Magneto. I don't want to die. Magneto doesn't care. He says, silence, Toad. It's the X-Men who should be fearful. They're the ones who are doomed. And so we have Toad and Magneto, Scarlet Witch, and Mastermind all on one side. And Magneto says, first we must get them together on the other side of the airlock. Ah, there's Cyclops. I'll start with him. Cyclops is battling Quicksilver. But Magneto picks him up. He says, now, before he can use his power beam, Forgive me for attacking you from behind, but we don't fight by any rules. And so he throws Cyclops into another room that has a locked door. He says, there, stay behind the air chamber with your wretched partners. I leave you to empty space. Toad says, Magneto, no, you're making a mistake. Someone else says, it's no use, Toad, he doesn't hear you. Then they realize the X-Men aren't behind the airlock. They're still in this section with us. Then we'll finish them later. At least the Cyclops will never bother us again. But the X-Men never desert one of their own, and so Angel says, I've got to fly to Scott before that section crumbles beneath him and he plunges to Earth. Iceman says, wait, I'll help you. And so the Iceman creates a structure with his ice. Look, it's a tube that extends to the falling section of the asteroid. He says, there, I fashioned a tubular ice bridge for you. It'll protect you both from the bitter cold out there. So the Iceman flies along the icy tunnel. He says, Scotty boy, do you hear me? I'm coming, fella. Hang on. And Cyclops says, you were just in time, Warren. The fragment was crumbling. I could just barely keep from falling. Angel picks him up and flies backward. He says, you're okay now, partner, but we're still not in the clear. Both sections are starting to split apart. Seconds after the X-Men again join forces, the satellite, already weakened by the stresses it has undergone, breaks free of its orbit in one final explosion. Boom! But before drifting out into airless space, it launches a silent, magnetically powered escape ship containing 5 weary but triumphant X-Men. And not a second too soon. Then, as the teenagers reach safety, Marvel Girl realizes it's rising again by remote control. Angel says Magneto and his mutants must still be up there. It's returning for them. Angel says Magneto can control its course mentally. There's no telling where he'll land. Marvel Girl says if the evil mutants survived, this was only the second round. They'll be more dangerous than ever. Beast says, and so will we, Jean. We've proved our mettle today by ourselves. Finally, upon returning to the school, Cyclops says, I'll give the professor our report. The professor says, no need to, Scott. I was with you all the time, listening to your thoughts. Hank says, you mean you have your mental power back? And Professor X reveals, I never lost it. I only pretended to after our first battle with the evil mutants. Cyclops asks, but why, sir? And then he explains, remember, this is a school, and you can't graduate from any school without passing your final exam. Well, you've all just taken your final exam, just as I planned it. And I'm proud to say that you all passed with flying colors. You've proven you can think and act for yourselves. Your training period is over. Congratulations, my X-Men. All right, and so school is over for the X-Men, and now they can go out as a fighting team on their own. But I suspect they'll still want Professor X around for his great and mighty power to aid them. And isn't it interesting, just as the semester is wrapping up for us, at our schools, the X-Men school is wrapping up too. The editor's note says that now that their training is ended, even greater dangers await them, for the strange saga of the X-Men is just beginning. Stan and Jack have a million surprises in store for you, so be with us next issue. We'll see you then. So what's next up for the X-Men? Well, look and see. It's the X-Men versus the Submariner, as the Submariner joins the evil mutants. We haven't seen him in a long time, and then he was fighting the Fantastic Four. Well, now he's fighting against the X-Men along with the evil mutants. Look in the background, there's Magneto and Mastermind and Toad. Over here, there's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And so, wow, one more power joining the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. How can the X-Men fight all of them together? Well, we'll find out the next time we read an X-Men adventure. Well, I hope you're enjoying the X-Men. I plan on reading some more of the Fantastic Four also. We have two super teams to read about now. Well, I love you guys, and I hope you're having a good time. Bye-bye.